Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode, the third episode to be precise, of Geekside News. How's everybody doing this evening? With
Good.
me tonight, we've got Shiv,
What's up?
Zosian,
Hello.
Vanquish,
What's up?
and our special guest star. Be careful, we just tell him he's special, but he's just a guest, okay? Um, we've got Edward Owen from Con GT, the director, the man in charge.
I'm just special because I'm the only one here with a real name. That's it. Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you that one. I'll
Fair
give you that
enough.
one. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. And actually, this is an episode I'm really excited to have you on for, Edward. Back a few weeks ago, some of our people were at a convention. I will not name the one right now, but I'm pretty sure probably most of them know. During this convention, they had a gentleman walk through, with this. It's a real AK-47. I think that's the AK-47. It should be. Basically, it got through weapons check, with the pin pulled, and that's it.
Right.
There's supposed to be the yellow tag there on the trigger, and he wasn't supposed to have been able to pull it, but apparently he could have. And they had no problems with him walking around the show floor. If you look up the rules for the convention, even in the rules it said no weapons allowed. So my question is, what the heck are we doing here, guys? I mean, how do we keep conventions safe? I mean, this guy, he could have been fine or he could have been nuts. Who knows? But, weapon safety checkers are supposed to be keeping us safe.
I
I mean,
mean, like
that's-
a failure at the con to me. It
Yeah.
completely screwed that one up because every con that I've ever gone to, the weapons checks are a lot stricter.
I mean, that clearly looks nothing like a toy. I mean, there's
Yeah.
no orange tip on it. It's metal. I'm pretty sure even the rules said, no steel,
No live
essentially.
steel.
Yeah, no live steel. So, and then the little yellow tag is supposed to be wrapped around to where you couldn't even pull the trigger, but it's just thrown on there.
One of the problems you run into today, and us being a Doctor Who convention, we don't have that kind of problem that much. We have sonic screwdrivers. That's about it. But the people today are so good at building props and building things that, even if they're not real, they look real and futuristic. But most of the time, those are so light or whatever. I'm with you guys. I think the con just messed up. Somebody didn't do their job.
Exactly.
Well, somebody didn't do their job at the front desk, and then you've got your security personnel that should be walking around. I hope they're walking around that aren't doing their job either. Or is this just they're trusting too much in the yellow tag that the initial security desk is giving them?
I believe, because if they were to stop every weapon or everything that had, I would have stopped this guy. But honestly, if there's the peace bonding tag on it, I would let it go.
Yeah. I think most of the folks inside were probably only really trained to make sure it had that little yellow tag on it, and it's from there. So I place the blame on the folks outside actually putting the labels on it.
Yeah, but the thing is, like we were talking before the show, he went all weekend long with it, but as soon as he left con on that Sunday, cops surrounded him, and
Well, that's true. That's true. So he walked around. I happen to have been the one of the folks that were there. So he walked around the convention center all weekend long. Nobody really said a word to the guy. Sunday night, after everything was wrapped up, we noticed he had his car parked across the parking lot. And on his way to the car, he got surrounded by about 5 cop cars. And they weren't too happy about the guy carrying that gun around. So...
Now, why do you think the cops waited till the very end of the show?
They might not have known about it.
They might not have known.
yeah, they don't know until someone calls them.
Well, let me ask a question, guys, because you run into two problems here. If you have open carry laws, which I don't know whether they did or they didn't, then then it's perfectly fine for him to do that. It's whether he was in the con and whether that rule...
Well, actually, open carry doesn't work on private property. So if the convention center has rules against it, even with open carry, they'd still not be allowed.
If they're posted.
If they're
And
posted,
plus,
exactly.
Sure.
well, open carry's more for handguns and stuff
Yeah,
like
it's more
that.
for pistols, but
It's not for assault rifles.
It depends on where you are.
yeah,
That's
it
why
does.
you see some of these guys walking down streets with, you know, so-called assault rifles and everything. So, I mean, I don't know.
I've seen many a video on YouTube of people with AR-15s walking down the street, and perfectly legal for them to carry it, and the cops are right on them very quickly.
Yeah.
So,
And my question, do you know if someone reported him and that's why the cops suddenly came in, surrounded him? It sounds like they had to be tipped off.
Yeah, I'm really not sure. It was just kind of seemed. It was just really interesting because we had talked about him all weekend. We kind of kept our eye on him because he kind of freaked us out. And to all of a sudden, at the very end of the day or very end of the convention, to see him across the street getting surrounded by police cars,
now,
okay, what took so long?
yeah, well, now, was this the con that had the federal agents around it? Were there federal agents around it for the other reason?
I probably don't want to get too much into that, but yeah, I mean, I think Pensacon already had a little bit of stuff going on in the background there.
Yeah, that one we already know there's a few issues with, and I don't really want to get too sticky into that one. Now, what level of responsibility does the convention have for the safety of the patrons? I mean, do they?
100% responsibility. I mean, they're hosting it. I know the cons up here. They everything, certain props aren't even allowed if they're too large or like it becomes obstruction. You can't bring it. Swords have to stay sheathed, and they will actually tie rep them down so they can't come out of their sheaths. No
Even
live
the fake
steel.
ones.
Yeah, even fake ones. They even have the rule because you go to the dealer's room and they obviously sell bladed weapons in the dealer's room. And it was if you buy a weapon, you take it out and you get it out of the con immediately. You don't
Good
walk
point.
around with it.
Yeah,
They do
there's
sell
some
a lot of
cons that
swords.
Actually,
Yes.
there are some cons that actually will escort you out with
Yes.
their own security to make sure it goes to the vehicle
Now,
or to your room.
yeah. Now, should the cons be contracting out to like off-duty police, or are like private security, enough, or what do we do?
I know the cons here, the one in Hampton, the actual police are there. They are patrolling, walking around in full uniform with weapons. So they're definitely there. I'm not sure if they're hired by the con or they're just showing up because the convention center hired them.
Well, I know for down in Mobile for QuestCon, they're actually were required by the convention have off-duty police officers and EMTs there.
Yeah.
How about you, Ed?
Yeah.
I know you know it's just kind of screwdrivers and stuff, but
Yeah, well, we do two things. We're not required to have police, but we do have a security force of 5. Pretty hefty guys that come in and do it, and they do it because they like doing it. But we also meet with the police the week before. We tell them exactly what's going on, when we're going to be there, what we're doing, and kind of what to expect, so that they're aware of what's going on. But and again, you can never say everything's a blanket type thing. But doing an exclusively Doctor Who con, you do have a little bit of different kind of. You don't have the heavy weaponry and the maybe some of the characters that carry a lot of weapons. So it's a little different. Although we do have some cosplay from other genres that come.
Tell me, how many Deadpools are you going to have at your con this year?
I have no idea. I know what Deadpool is, but I have not seen it.
Why did I not think of this now?
I tell you,
They
here's
will-
what
they
I
will
Now
be
we're gonna have to do
everywhere.
Dr. Deadpool.
Last year I was at a
Dr.
con,
Deadpool.
and the fun thing about doing this is you get to go to a lot of different cons to promote yours. And so I'm at a con, and again, I claim to know nothing about anything beyond Doctor Who. My knowledge is very limited, and I'm very honest about that. And a little girl walked up, a little girl, she was probably 16, a little girl to me. And she walks up, and she's dressed in this outfit. And I thought, okay, I'm going to ask her what it is. And I asked her, I had no idea who Harley Quinn was, okay? 15 minutes later, she was still explaining Harley Quinn to me. And I realized right then and there, I'm not going to ask anybody else what they're dressed as. So,
You remember the Ruby costume that came last year?
Which one?
The one that won the contest for non-Doctor Who. The Ruby. the girl in the black and red dress with the
Yes,
chief.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that kind of shifts us into another dimension of convention safety and security. Is there's been a huge issue with consent.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
harassment.
sexual harassment, and it's just seems to be getting worse. Um, we I don't know if it's because there's so many socially awkward geeks that don't know what is inappropriate.
I think a lot of it's that.
I think also a lot of people project on. They don't see the cosplayer as a person; they see it as the character. So they don't
Right.
think that it's inappropriate.
They've
Yeah, and
objectified them.
Yes.
well, I remember one time I was at EvilCon. It's a con up in Evansville, Indiana, and this is my first convention, one of the first ones I went to, and I brought a friend with me, and this one guy just kept on following her around, trying to talk to her and everything, and she wasn't even cosplaying. This guy was just a freaking weirdo, and finally had to get security involved.
Friend of yours, right?
No, I don't know who the I don't know who the hell this guy is, but we had to get convention security involved because he wouldn't leave her alone, and they basically told him to leave, or we'll call the cops, or we get and stuff like that. That happens even if you're not in cosplay. You just weirdos show up, and you just security has to deal with them. So
This is one of the things that surprised me when I got involved in this. And my background years ago was conventions, and so putting on events was no big deal. But they weren't these type of events. They were corporate. They were, convention, sales meetings, that types of thing. And I was surprised when I first started going to these. One, at some of the outfits that are worn. And I'm by no means a prude, but I was like, whoa, does your daddy know you left home looking like that? And secondly, the need to, when I went to conventions, to see all these postings about consent and what you know means no and things like that. It's, I think there's a blur between reality and the play part of cosplay that people forget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There really is, and I haven't talked to these girls, but there is a group of, I believe, 3 girls up in Philadelphia that have put together an organization just trying to promote, cosplay doesn't equal consent. It's called geeksforconsent.org, and I just kind of want to throw a shout out to them. I don't really go too far because I haven't talked to them, but they seem like they're trying to do the good thing. They're trying to raise awareness that just because people are dressing up, they're not objects. They're still real people underneath, and they're as much as they like getting their picture taken, they're not there to be touched and felt up.
Yeah, and
so I think
also,
cosplay does not equal consent.
Yeah.
also Lauren, which we had on our first show, is very involved in that. Also, you met
Wow.
Lauren at TriCon, if you remember the Bioware.
Tiny Tina.
Yeah, Tiny Tina. Remember the girl with the rabbit and all that, Edward?
Oh yeah, you're sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's great.
Yeah, she was fun to have. She's a fun guest.
And she was in Nashville too, at GMX, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Now I'll just bring up one last thought, one last question before we move on to the next section. And that comes down to, especially in this country and in other countries as well, the concern for safety sometimes outweighs our rights and our desires. As we go forward with the conventions, we need to have the rules, we need to have the safety, we need to have the security. But there's a trade-off in freedoms. At what point, how do you manage that balance between safety and freedom and the security in the conventions? You don't want to have people at the door searching, hand patting down every single person that comes through. You're not going to get anybody that wants to go to your convention.
I look at it this way: if you're walking into a con and it's a privately run con, you've left the freedom to do anything you want because you've entered the domain of Con GT using mine. And we reserve the right to change, to make you not bring in anything you want or to behave the way we want to or we want you to. I mean, I don't see that as being a inhibition on your freedoms at all.
I agree with you.
Yep.
Every con that I've gone to has got the rule book. It's, you can do this, you can do that, and we will kick you out if you break the rules.
Right.
Everyone's here to have fun, not to watch you be a jerk.
All right, so no concerns about that then.
Nope.
Everybody's pretty on above the same board as far as not. Okay. All right. Hey, just had to throw the question out there. All right, going to our next subject, the British invasion. Now, anybody who has seen anything has seen Doctor Who, seen Torchwood. The Sarah Jane Adventures have come across the pond, as it were. The Penny Dreadful, Humans. There's another one I'm thinking off the top of my head. What is it? It's the one with the ghost, the werewolf, and the vampire.
Oh, the vampire.
They remade it into an American series too.
Exactly, they remade it American style too.
It's Being Human, isn't it?
Is it?
Yes,
Yes,
Being
Being
Human.
Human.
Yeah.
And then you've got Robin Hood. That was a few years older. That's a little bit more closer to when Eccleston and David Tennant of Doctor Who's timeline. And then also you've got who can leave out Sherlock.
Yeah, sure.
Exactly.
So
Sure.
we've got the British invasion. How are we suddenly having so much good content coming out of England?
England's always had good content. I'm sorry, the BBC has always put on quality programming. We just never got to see it.
Yeah, there you go. That's the key.
Yeah.
I remember being younger, and I mean, I'm going to date myself, but there was a kid show called The Tomorrow People from the BBC, the original one, not that crappy remake they did a couple years ago, which was an amazing television show. And this was coming out of the BBC. This is back in the 80s, so they've always done great TV.
I remember seeing sitcoms and stuff. Like, I don't remember the name of it, but it was like they were in this shopping mall or something like that. And
Are You Being Served?
Thank
Yeah.
you. Yes. It was hilarious.
Yes,
I agree with you that they've always had really good service, but if you go back and look at like the old Doctor Who's, and it's as a fairly new Whovian, I got in on the bandwagon in 2005. You look at the old ones where when you hit the TARDIS, the control, and it shook because it was cardboard and all of that. You have to kind of imagine what it would be like with the plots in today's environment. There's an excellent show, guys. If you haven't seen it, it's a BBC show, and if you know your way around, you can find it. It's called Tales from Television Center,
Okay.
and it's we're going to actually show it at Con GT this year, and it's an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours special about Television Center, the BBC, and the whole layout of it, and the people that work there, and the shows that they did there, and kind of the interaction of it. It's a great show. I think you would really enjoy it if you're interested in the old BBC things. Tales from
It's actually
Television
on
Center.
YouTube.
I will look that up. Thank you.
Yep, writing that down now.
And I guess another question would be, how did they suddenly get the budget to become so much better? Because, like you said, the cardboard sets of Doctor Who from back in the 60s and 70s to now we actually have physical sets.
Not just physical, but a lot of it's CGI. There's a lot. Technology has come a long way where blending CGI into real stuff is not as noticeable as it once was. The technology is really advanced.
Well, from our perspective, Doctor Who is the BBC's most profitable venture, bar none. And so I get tickled sometimes when I hear people say, "Are they going to cancel it? Are they going to cancel it because ratings are down in England or something?" Hell no, they're not going to cancel it. It is worldwide phenomenon.
It's the longest running science fiction show ever.
Exactly. And I think also, and back to your original
They've been let go
question,
for a few years.
back to your original question, people love that accent. They love accents.
Yeah.
And you can do the same. Take, what was the show Tennant did? Church, whatever, Broadchurch?
Yeah, Broadchurch.
You do that show in England, and it's 10 times better than when they did it here in the U.S. So,
The Office
yeah,
was
but-
much better written. The Office is kind of a stretch. It was good here. But the IT Crowd was...
IT Crowd's great.
Yes, IT Crowd's amazing.
I'm
Haven't seen that.
you have to watch the IT Crowd.
Okay.
I'm gonna fanboy here. I think my favorite moment was in there the bar scene, and Moss was suddenly became the bartender behind the bar there, and you had I can't even remember the other guy, but his partner in crime there was pretending to be handicapped, and they were taking him away on the handicap bus. Oh, it's because he got caught in the handicap bathroom. That's what it was.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
Okay.
I actually
Derailed.
posted that show that Edward was talking about into chat. It's on YouTube
awesome.
and everything.
cool.
Now,
Definitely look it up.
I kind of got to ask: are we sure that Doctor Who is the most profitable? Are we sure it's not Top Gear?
Top Gear was canceled.
Whoa, hold on. Actually, Top Gear is not canceled.
They're
Actually
recasting
just, they recast it with American and British actors.
Okay,
I love
well,
Top
it's-
Gear, but it might as well have been canceled.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
yeah, but-
those three guys
but-
that made the show.
Yeah.
And
I'm just
they're
going by
coming
what
to
reports.
Netflix, though, now.
What
They're coming to
reports I
Amazon.
have read is that Doctor Who, and you're right, Top Gear is probably right up there with it. But from what I've read, Doctor Who worldwide is the most profitable. It could be the fact that they've got 50 years of stuff that they can churn out over and over. I'm not sure.
Well, the thing
Sure.
is so Doctor Who is so popular, they're regretting destroying so many episodes of it.
Yeah.
From the BBC. They want to find those old episodes. If you find one, they'll pay you millions of dollars to get a hold of it.
Which is surprising to me because there are so many that, you have recreations, and I don't know how many of you guys are really into this, but some of the older episodes that were erased, they still have the audio tracks. And the people have gone through with still pictures and recreated, as best they can. And I'm surprised at some point BBC or somebody hasn't gone and animated those features to at least provide some fluidity, to the movement.
There is a bunch of people on YouTube doing that.
Okay.
actually.
Oh, really?
I don't remember where I saw it at, but I saw it on somewhere about Doctor Who getting that done. But also there's what's the name of the audio company that does BBC programs?
Big Finish?
Yeah, Big Finish is actually they're bringing some of them back, the audio versions, and producing them and stuff.
Well, the great thing about, you bring up Big Finish, and that's a really cool thing. We're doing a panel at Con GT on Big Finish. One of the great things about being in a British show of any type, you can be in it forever. You'll make a living forever. It's like we've got Colin Baker. Colin Baker hadn't been in the TARDIS in 30 years, and he still makes a great living making appearances, and he's really good at it. And with people or companies like Big Finish doing the audio productions, we're now seeing new David Tennant, Donna Noble productions coming out. Matt
Tom.
Smith is going to be doing some things. Tom Baker still has done some things. Colin, and they're all doing all that. So, we used to joke about the fact there's only 20 actors in Britain because they're in everything. Everybody is in everything.
Can't argue.
Yeah, they're doing new Torchwood now, also with Big Finish, and
Yeah.
River Song's getting her own stuff that she's actually. They're going to be doing something with Sylvester McCoy soon in her. So.
Yeah, she's going to go around and hit all the doctors, so that's good.
Well, technically, in the timeline, she has.
No pun intended
actually,
there with hit all the doctors.
Yeah.
If you
You guys
actually
got
see-
dirty minds.
Oh,
if you actually, I think it is canon that she does meet all the doctors, but she don't reveal who she is until, technically until the 10th Doctor. Well, technically 11th because they skipped the War Doctor. So
Well,
Right.
I mean, there's got to be a reason for her to have a portfolio of the pictures of all 12 doctors. There's got to be a reason for her to have those pictures. Just saying.
I'm one of those people. I'm probably one of the rare Whovians who every now and then I just say to myself and I say to my friends, it is just a TV show. And every now and then there's going to be things that don't make sense and it doesn't add up. I know, Scott, that kills you. But here's my question: why, when they did the 50th anniversary, or when they brought in all 13 doctors to attack Gallifrey or to attack the Daleks, why didn't they bring in more? Why didn't they bring in 14 and 15 and 16? So you just it's a TV show. Have fun with it.
Yep, you got to suspend your disbelief a little bit. Or
We
else-
are,
Yeah.
but we're
Well-
we're geeks and nerds. We need to dissect everything. To every little thing. Which
Yeah, but sometimes
Well,
it's nice to just
yeah,
shut your
but
brain off and
50th
enjoy the
anniversary-
show.
There's actually some people that don't like the 50th anniversary show. I love it. It actually I wish Christopher Ashman was in it. Yes, the Ninth Doctor. But I understand why he didn't want to do it. And he's kind of like almost like the new Colin Baker, and all that right now.
I- well, also,
But it got better later on. Colin is made up with the BBC and stuff, especially when they redid his death scene on Big Finish for him.
well, I will say that part of my favorite of the 50th anniversary was David Tennant. Just saying,
So we
Oh,
don't
yeah,
really
to have-
have
to
the
have
fan
him
crush on
back,
David
yeah.
Tennant.
my fangirling, I think it was called.
Hey, he is my favorite new Doctor, but he's not my favorite. My favorite, I would have to say, is Sylvester McCoy.
Nice.
He's a great. He made Edward. You need to get him next year. Come on,
Who's that?
please. Sylvester McCoy, Seventh Doctor, and bring his companion with him. That would
Nice.
make Sophie Andrews.
Sophie, yeah, we've actually. You're going to be the first to hear this, Scott. We've actually had some correspondence with Sophie.
Yes.
So I'm not saying anything's happened with it because, to be honest, it hasn't. But we have emailed back and forth and talked about some things. So who knows what'll happen there?
That's cool.
Awesome.
It is kind of cool.
He is my favorite companion.
Yeah. The one thing you learn when you're doing something like this, when you're doing a con, is, and that term still kind of amuses me. We're doing a con, is working with celebrities like that is a different ball game, especially because you've got different levels of celebrity. You've got your companions, either new or old, and some of the newer ones, maybe when you book them, there's no guarantee they're going to be there because something better may come along. Last
Right.
year, my first con last year, I had Gareth David Lloyd booked, and I had, and I cannot think of his name right now, the guy that plays Strax, booked, and both of them backed out on me because they got better deals. Now, you get somebody like Colin or Sylvester, they're more in gear, plus they make more money, and it's more like they're going to lock in and stay with you. But, until that last minute when they show up at your door, there's a certain amount of worry about whether those people are going to be there or not.
Oh yeah. Well, Pensacon, I think, was supposed to have Peter Mayhew, Chewbacca, and guess what? They started filming Star Wars a little earlier than he thought. Guess who wasn't at Pensacon? So, I mean,
Well, and
it
you go to any major con website, and usually there's a listing. These people will not be there. We announced them, but here they are, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they have backed out. So,
Yeah, when I went to Habercorn, Todd Habercorn was supposed to be there, but then there was a Tokyo Con that happened at the same time, and being an anime voice actor, he went to the Tokyo Con and not
Yeah.
the local con in Virginia.
Well, so we're segueing actually probably more into the third section. So before we completely segue, was there anything else we want to discuss about the British invasion other than how awesome it is, and everybody loves a good British accent?
It's good stories too. It's not just the accent. I mean, Humans. If you haven't watched it, that's a really interesting show that really goes into what it means to be human. It's if you haven't seen it, I would definitely check it out because it's I like the fact that British shows aren't as tame as their American counterparts. They do push more boundaries and they try and get away with more. Where I think if they did that here, the networks would probably step on them.
Yes, but how do we get it? How do they get shut down some of that stuff, but we still have blood galore?
It depends on the show. Depends on what you're watching.
I don't know.
Zoe, I lost your video. Zoe,
Huh? What?
I lost your
lost
video.
your video, but
Oh, can you see me now?
No,
Oh,
no.
that's weird. Let me try this again.
Wait.
you're coming back now.
Okay. I don't know what happened. Sorry, guys.
Maybe.
Maybe we get the
Maybe.
swirl.
We got the
There you
swirly.
go.
We're giving Zoe a swirly.
feed the squirrel. I was thinking the exact same thing.
All
Okay.
right.
You know, you talk about the British invasion. I'm old enough that the British invasion means something totally different. But I think there's and I wonder if there's not a certain part of society, and I know I'm like this, that I'm fascinated by all things Britain. You know, I always have been all my life. And I have great friends in Britain, and we're actually doing one of the things we're announcing at ConGT. Also, you guys are going to be the first to hear this. Is my trade? What I do normally is travel, group travel, things like that. We're announcing two things at the con. One is the cosplay cruise, which will be next summer in 2017 or next spring, where we're going to cruise the Caribbean for probably 5 nights with cosplay involved. And the other one is a thing called the Doctor's Britain, which is going to be a series of week-long trips to London and Cardiff. And
So,
that's
calm down.
kind of the holy grail of Doctor Who things, as you can see if you're looking. Are you okay, son? Do we need to call 911 for you? But, you know, I think there is a certain part of society that just, you know, you stamp the Union Jack on it and people get excited. And I know I'm that way. It has to be good stuff. I mean, they still put crap out over at the BBC, too. But
Oh yeah.
I think that's something.
I've been to London once, and I was only there for a day. I was out, and then the rest I was in Oxford and everywhere else for the rest of the week. But I always want to go back, and I'm gonna have to look into this and start saving my money, get my passport.
All right. Now, Zoe, if we need to call emergency services, I put the number up in the chat room for you.
Ha ha ha! Very funny.
All right. So British invasion, awesome. And is it a little bit cyclical? I mean, back in the '60s, we had the Beatles coming over. We had a few other bands coming over. Is it a cyclical thing or just?
I just think the world's gotten smaller. We have more access to things now. Back in not just the British invasion, but anime. Anime has gotten huge, and it's just because we have more access. The internet has really connected the world. I think it's a great thing.
So can
You know, we were talking about just that very thing the other day, and the fact that when I was a kid, I had a shortwave radio, and you could sit for hours and entertain yourself, trying to tune in. And I remember listening to, for some reason, I remember listening to a show from Bern, Switzerland, and hear that on this little radio that was about this big. And now, you can hear a million times more sitting here looking at this computer screen. You're right, the world is tiny now.
Yeah.
Oh, I just had a thought and it left me. I hate it when that happens.
It's over there.
Yeah.
It is a brilliant thought. It may have changed the world.
And now we'll never know.
Now we'll never know.
It's like the Douglas Adams book, she finally figured out life, and then everybody died.
Yeah, but
All right. Well, let's continue on to our third section. Premiering, promoting, talking to Edward about ConGT. Tell us what ConGT. If anybody doesn't have an idea at this point, I would be surprised. But tell us what is ConGT and what do you do?
2 years ago, I got interested in Doctor Who when it came back on the air in 2005. And as I said, my background was, over the years, was conventions and meetings and all kinds of things like that. So putting together events was not a big deal. But I'm a travel agent by trade, partly. I do several different things. I don't have like one full-time job. I just do a lot of little things. But I do that. And 2 years ago, I was in Orlando for a meeting, and they were having Hurricane Who there, which is the big middle Florida or mid-Florida convention. And I went, and that's where I actually met Colin Baker. And I realized at that point nobody was doing Doctor Who up here, and I'm right outside of Nashville. So, that's I work in Nashville a lot, so that's local to me. And nobody's doing anything Doctor Who in Nashville, or, the closest one we had was Con K in Huntsville. That's a big convention, but that's 3 hours away. And so I just decided, well, let's try putting one together. And, you roll the dice on something like that, and you think, I can sell enough tickets to make this work for us, and it did. And we had a lot of great help, different groups that helped us promote it, and it went very well. And in our second year, we're able to bring in the Doctor. Bring in a Doctor, Colin Baker, the sixth Doctor. But it's 2.5 days of Doctor Who geekdom cosplay, and just immersing ourselves in all things Doctor Who.
Nice.
Nice.
So is this year 2 or 3 coming up?
This is year 2 coming up.
Okay.
So, what did you do to get started? What did you do to get it put together?
There are 2 things that I use that help me do everything, and one of them is Evernote, which I'm sure some of you use, which is an online note program, and the other one is a program called RememberTheMilk.com, which is an online task organizer. And what I did was I just started making notes, and I said, okay, here's what I want to do here, and I just laid it all out. And I went to the local Convention and Visitors Bureau here, who I had helped with some other projects. I actually did tours for them, just helping them out. And they decided to come on board and help me. So they provided a lot of background manpower, woman power, to help me with registration and lanyards and making name tags and things like that. And then I thought, okay, if we can pull this off, we have to have a location. And you just go through all the steps. You've got to have a place to do it. You've got to have guests. You've got to, get some people on board. And that's the number one thing. Find some people that'll help you. People who are interested in what you're doing, who are excited about what you're doing, and who will take a part of it in ownership. And in anything you do like this, let them get the credit for it, because they did it. I mean,
Sure.
If you've got people that are doing these various tasks, like catering for you, they're the ones that are the big deal. You're not. And we just put it all together, and as I told you earlier, I hoped it would reach a certain level, and when we were done, it had reached I couldn't have asked for a better turnout from last year than what we had. And so that's why this year we took the leap to bring in Colin Baker, which is a totally different leap. When you go to that doctor level, you've made a big commitment.
Yeah.
Now, out of curiosity, do you have door numbers for last year? I'm curious.
We had over 600 come in last year. And I'm not sure. There are a few of those that, were in, some of our trades, like our other cons and all that. But I'm going to say there were probably 550 paid, somewhere in that range.
Nice.
Sure.
Yeah,
What are you shooting for this year?
I'd like to see 7. And I think we can do that. And that's another thing. It is a scary proposition when you do this, because you don't know. Last year, the last week was phenomenal. That's when they came out of the woodwork to buy tickets. Mm-hmm. You're sitting here and you've got a lot of cost involved, and I've put a lot of just cash into this thing to make sure, hopefully, it works. And you just hope that last minute those people will show up, and you try to give them incentives to buy tickets early and all of that. But I feel like we're going to be okay this year.
All right.
I remember when I first talked to you about Tricon and all that, and about table swaps, and I think if I remember correctly, you asked me what a table swap was, and then
that's probably true. That's probably true.
and then you started getting more table swaps with like kind K down there and stuff like that. So.
I just find it incredibly fun. I enjoy it. And I, guys, let me tell you just a real quick story. If you just told me 5 years ago I'd be walking around dressed like any kind of character from any TV show, I would have said you're crazy. Okay? And I went to a Star Trek convention, because I always liked Star Trek. And somebody gave me some tickets, so I went. And I was there, and I stood in line for about 20 minutes next to a 16-year-old kid dressed as a Klingon. And this kid's makeup was impeccable. His uniform was impeccable. And I really enjoyed talking to him. And I thought, well, now, who am I to be, judging this? And I thought, this kid's cool. He's having fun. All these people are having fun. And I still said, but I wouldn't do this. But as I told you, when they introduced Peter Capaldi and I was in the process of putting on this con, I thought, okay, here's a guy that's in my age range. I got the hair. I can do this. But I still found it was a little weird. The first time I put on that doctor's suit and we were promoting at an event at the Adventure Science Center in Nashville, and somebody came up and said, "Can I have my picture made with you?" Man, I was hooked.
That's what'll do it. That's what'll do it.
And it's so much fun, and now I'm the one going, "Hey, can I have my picture made with you?" It's just a lot of fun.
So do we have pictures of you dressed up as
If you go to our website congt.org, there's an entire section with pictures from last year's con. I think it's called Relive 2015 or
I
something
gave
like
you that
that.
link earlier. I think it's in TeamSpeak.
We even have a picture in there. We have a dance on Saturday night. We have a Doctor Who themed band coming in. They're called Legs Nose Robinson. Which, if you watch Doctor Who, that reference makes sense. We had a line dancing Dalek last year.
really?
Because
Oh man, that was hilarious.
and I've got
I
that
thought it was
video.
going to take half the people out. In the
Well, that
process.
video is on the website on the Relive 2015 portion. There were some kids that made a Dalek, and they were in the contest. I think they won one of the prizes. And then when they got ready to leave, their mother said, "We're moving. We don't have room for this thing. I'm leaving it here." And so she left it. And then that night at the dance, people just started getting the Dalek and getting into it. And it was on the dance floor, line dancing. And it's the funniest thing.
That's
But
great.
yeah, there's all kinds of pictures of me dressed up. You might even find a picture of Scott in there. I'm not sure. Or what is I'm supposed to call you, Zon? Is that what I'm supposed to call you?
It's Zoe.
Zoe,
Zoe.
okay.
Let's call him Zoe.
I'm sorry if I've blown your cover, Zoe.
It's just a gamer tag that we all go by in grievance and stuff. So
Oh, there it is. Relive 2015. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I think it disappeared on the front page. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I just didn't see it. I'm blind.
It should be up there. It may not be. It's something 2015. It may not
No,
be
it's-
Relive.
It is Relive 2015. I'm going through. Looks like you guys had a lot of fun.
Wait. Is this you with? I think that's you. I love that blazer though, with the red insides.
Oh yeah, that's me then. Yeah. And we did the thing last year with the drone pictures, and then we've got a guy this year. We have a fellow who wants to do. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the video where David Tennant and the crew from his one of his seasons did that. I'll walk 500 miles. That song, and they did it with the.
yeah.
I can't think of the name of the group that did it. But we have a guy who wants to do a video this year of the song "Shut Up and Dance." And we're going to be doing a music video at the con this year, which is going to be insane fun.
I hope you do the time warp. Come
I don't know that we'll do the time warp. Well, you can be in charge of that, Zoe, okay?
on.
There you go.
There you go. There's a picture. There's a picture. Yeah.
You need to
But it's
invest
just,
in some ad
it's
block or
huge
something.
fun. I mean, it's, and now I I go to all these other shows, and I don't really know a lot about the characters, but I enjoy the work that goes into them. I have friends who are cosplayers, major league cosplayers, who do incredible outfits, and I just love their dedication and their artistry and all of that. So
I remember one of my favorite moments. I had to say, well, I would say Con GT. I don't know if you saw it or not, but my friend Matthew overheard Ellis saying she didn't know how to yo-yo. He went and bought her a yo-yo and taught her how to do it.
I just remember Ellis in the lobby with a yo-yo. That's all I remember. I didn't know the story behind it.
Yeah, my friend went to Toys R Us as soon as they opened the next day, bought her a yo-yo, and brought it back to her and taught her how to yo-yo.
Well, and that's the cool thing about this. And this is nothing to do with me and putting on a con, but I have made so many friends from far off that I never would have met before. And and let's face it, when I walk into that con, I'm probably the oldest person there, and that's fine. I have no problem with that. Zoe and I are friends because of it. I have people that I've met from all over the Southeast. We'll have people this year from probably at least 10 states coming in for this con.
Nice.
And it's just, it's a great way to just get to know people and share a common interest.
Absolutely.
And
yeah.
just so you're aware, we had the line dancing Dalek just up on the screen, by the way.
Oh, did you? Great.
Yes. Because you can never go wrong with a line dancing Dalek. L. Gruber had a quick question. Any thoughts of moving to Nashville proper?
You know what? And it's funny you should ask that because last year, we had such a good year last year, I thought about it. And because we have limited facilities in Clarksville. We're a big town. We've got 165,000 people, but we don't have a lot of convention space. And I actually had some meetings in Nashville about possibilities of moving it, but the cost is just outrageous. I mean,
Enormous.
you know,
I can see that.
you know, I would rather keep it in the size range that it is. I mean, we can go 200 or 300 more people and be okay, than to try to make that happen. So for now, we're going to stay here.
Hey, there's Henderson. There's a lot of outlying cities. Maybe there's a place there.
Yeah, I went
Sorry.
to. I've got another big event I'm doing next year. We have a big this eclipse is coming through next year, and I've got a group of things. And I'm doing a thing at Opryland on that, and I've got a bunch of rooms reserved for that. But I talked to Opryland. Here's the thing, guys. The space alone would have been probably $15,000, and
You
it's
gotta pass
just
that on to you.
you just
Yes.
can't. You know, you can't do that for the
Right.
amount of space you need for an event like this. You don't have the number of people that.
It doesn't grow on trees.
Yep.
Yeah,
Right.
you know, a broader based con can do that possibly, but ours is very narrow focused.
Sure.
And I can see that. We have, in this area, there's a con that's just starting to get off its feet. This will be its third year. And they moved, or are moving, to a larger con space. And I don't know how that's going to work out for them. Because I don't know if they have the people to be able to fill the place like they want. I hope it works, because, I mean, I love going to cons. But
And you know, there are people who go to one of our special guests is a girl named Robin Burks, a lady named Robin Burks, and Robin's an author. She writes for Tech Times. She's a major league cosplayer, and she goes to Gallifrey One every year, which is kind of like the big, you know,
The San Diego Comic-Con of the Doctor Who.
yeah,
Oh,
out
she-
there. And she, you know, it's only like 3,000 tickets, and they sell out in one day and all that. And she'll be the first one to tell you there is a romance and a charm to smaller cons that you don't get in the big mega cons.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'd like ours to be somewhere in the middle there, you know. And
Yeah, Robin's
with
skipping next year. She already told me she was.
yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
is
with
she?
large
Okay.
cons, you spend the entire time just standing in line. And I don't find the fun in that. I like the smaller cons because you can mingle more. It's not as crowded. And it's not as hard to police, because sometimes you get too large and then security has to really watch themselves.
Yeah.
You know, a lot about what we talked about putting on a con. I don't know if I mentioned this, and if I did, I apologize for doing it twice. But on Friday afternoon, when this year, it's the 25th, we're going to have like an hour and a half session about putting on conventions. And Bonnie Otten from Con Casterbarus is going to be there, who's been a great help to me. I'll be there. I'm sure some other people will be there. I mean, Zoe, excuse me. You've worked with some cons. You won't be there, but you know, people like that have put these things on. The great thing I have found about putting on a convention is people are not jealous, and they're not trying to restrict it to just themselves, and they will help you. All you have to do is ask.
Oh, yeah.
And that's
Hey, if you want to put me up for a night, and I'll gladly come on Friday.
Okay, well, I'll see you Saturday then.
No, seriously, that really sounds fascinating. And are you going to live stream that, or is it going to be attendance only?
Well, actually, it's everything we do Friday is non-ticket holders. So, I mean, nobody has to have a ticket. Now, would we live stream it? I don't know that we have the. I'm sure we have the technology to do it, and we have the expertise to do it. I'm just not sure we'll get around to doing that. You know, maybe we try to videotape it or something. But yeah, that'd be cool.
Well, if you could definitely at least video it and throw it up on YouTube, because I think from just a layman's person, that'd just be fascinating to listen to and get everybody's ideas, and get an idea as to what actually is going into creating a con, whether it be a small con or a mega con.
Right.
And, it's all, some of the basics are still the same. You still got to talk to people. You still need a place. You still need this. You still need that.
And you just need as many people who are involved and who are interested, who will work,
Yes.
and let them take the credit. That's all it is.
Well, that sounds fascinating. Now, do you guys have any questions for him to grill him?
None that I can think of. You covered a lot, so thank you.
So, of your 600 and some guests last year, about how many of those kind of participated in the cosplay? Roughly.
Well, by participating, okay, two things there. We do have a cosplay contest, but as far as people who are dressed in some form of Doctor Who gear, I'm going to say 75, 80%. And that
That's
doesn't
great.
mean that they were full-blown cosplay, but they'll have a Tom Baker sweater or a scarf on or something like that. But it was by far the majority.
So,
Awesome.
now, out of curiosity, have you thought about just throwing out an idea for you here? Free ideas, free ideas.
Okay?
Get a couple of people dressed up as weeping angels, and they'll just stand on the side of the thing, hidden, and then when you get some unsuspecting showgummers that aren't paying attention to them, grab them and take them to like a secret area behind the thing to put up onto stage at a later time, like or something. I don't know.
We started this show out talking about security, and now you're wanting us to kidnap people. I'm not.
Exactly. Come on, Whitney. Come on.
Just had to throw it
Okay.
out there. Just had to throw it out there. All right. So now, when it is Con GT, because we definitely want to advertise free. We definitely want to. You've been a wonderful guest and everything like that. So,
Thank you. It's 2.5 weeks, March 25th through the 27th. It's actually Easter weekend, but that was the only date we could work out this year. March 25th through the 27th at Riverview Inn, Clarksville, Tennessee, congt.org. We'd love to have you guys come visit us. Any of you guys want to come? You're welcome to come as my guest. I'll give you Zoe's ticket.
There you go. Oh,
Sounds good.
speaking of which, were we giving away a ticket or a shirt? Are we still doing that? Because I am almost forgot about that.
I am game, man. I'll give. We can give away a 2-day pass, and if it's won by somebody who can't come, we'll send them a T-shirt.
All right, so you heard it, folks. You have the chance to win either a pair of tickets or one ticket. One ticket.
Oh, twist my arm. We'll do 2.
All right, you can either get a pair of tickets to attend. That's in Clarksville, Tennessee. But if you are unable to make it, we'll go ahead and send you a shirt.
Hey, listen, we'll send 2 shirts because we had 2 tickets.
Oh, hey, there you go. Hey, I didn't even have to twist his arm for that one. I think we're getting to him. He's realizing that he's got to give bring it all here.
Hey, listen, I appreciate the effort you guys made to help us publicize. That helps a lot. And things like this. This is the other thing. Guys like you doing this show. You reach an audience, other people reach an audience, and you got to work this type of stuff. And it's great that you're doing what you're doing and that you're inviting us in here.
And I think that's awesome. And I like getting the word out about our stuff, and I like supporting you guys because, let's face it, we're geeks. We want to see everybody that's doing stuff like this succeed.
We're all in this together, man.
That's
really
right.
are.
So let's see, what kind of hashtag do you want these people to go for? Do you want like hashtag doctor?
You guys are in charge of this part. You just tell me who won. That's all.
All right.
That sounds good to me, Wendell. That
I
sounds
have
good.
to
Let's go hashtag doctor.
Yep, hashtag doctor, guys. If you want a chance to win either a pair of tickets if you can attend or a couple of shirts if you can't attend, so throw up hashtag doctor. Apparently, El Gruber already has tickets. He's already going to you.
Good deal. Good deal. I
That's-
probably
But
know who
still
that
needs the
is. I
shirt.
just don't know by the name.
Zoe, this isn't you, is it?
No.
It's a secret account.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so throw up hashtag doctor in the really Zoe.
Dude, if I wasn't allowed to win a signed copy of a book last month, you can't do that.
Right.
Guys, my one of my backgrounds is radio, and years ago I used to do radio, and I was a TV guy and all this. And we used to have people call in to win things, but they wouldn't call because they were at work, and they're like, "Oh, I'm not supposed to be calling in because I'm listening to the radio." And I would tell them then, use a fake name because I don't care. I'll say that your name is, Waldo or whatever. So if one of you guys on the panel, if you'll make the trip, you can win. Except you, Zoe.
I already got my. You said you already have the ticket for me. So.
Oh, darn, you got me again.
Nice,
This is
nice,
not
nice,
Vanquish.
Vanquish. This is not Vanquish. All right, so while we're waiting for the hashtag doctors to come in, let's go on to our fourth and final subject of the evening before we get going. And the problem here is, Edward, that apparently you haven't watched Deadpool. But you can
You're
learn
right.
all about the records.
I have no idea about Deadpool. I just know it's a big red figure. That's all I know.
Well, there's a black in him too. Just saying.
Okay.
And
So are
that
you
did
saying
not. That did
goodbye
not
to me? Is
mean.
that what you're saying then?
that did not mean to come out like that.
No. I totally understand. This would be like having me here. If this was a program on fixing diesel engines, you might as well have me as well as having me for Deadpool, because I know equal amount about both.
Hey, so how many spark plugs are in a diesel engine?
4? I don't know.
All right, so Deadpool. Apparently, it has won broken a couple of records. Now, do you guys have the list, or?
Off the top of my head, I know it's the highest grossing R-rated movie ever, which is pretty impressive because usually R-rated movies do not do as well as this one has. It was the biggest opening, Valentine's Day opening ever, which blew both The Matrix and 50 Shades of Grey, which I don't consider a movie, out. But I think Deadpool's won all these records because you can tell that it was a labor of love for these guys. I can't say enough good things about it. I loved that movie.
So, considering how many times Ryan Reynolds name dropped himself, was it a labor of self-love for him?
Yeah.
Just a thought,
Yeah.
just throwing it out there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is Deadpool, so.
Well,
Yeah.
he's been waiting 10 years to make this movie. They weren't even going to make this movie until someone
They leaked footage.
the test footage.
And honestly, if this movie had come out 10 years ago, I don't think it would have done as well.
I don't think so either.
It probably
I
wouldn't
think-
have. Honestly.
I think, yeah, with the latest, all the superhero movies that have come out recently, everybody's really into get the Avengers. You got DC starting to ramp up, but the superhero movies became good because superhero movies from before weren't. They were horrible. So again, if it had come out 10 years ago, yeah, I don't think it would have done that.
Well, I have another couple
Hey, it beat Star Wars. That's the funny. It actually beat Star Wars the first weekend out. So
By the end of this weekend, Deadpool may have more than the lifetime theatrical gross of the movie 300, which was the former highest grossing R-rated movie. Wow.
That's insane. It
Lifetime
really is.
lifetime. It's been out a month, 2 months?
Yeah.
I mean, a month. So that's insane.
Well, it's a little scary too, but there are a couple others. Biggest Friday through Sunday opening weekend for a long weekend. 132 million Friday through Sunday. Let's see. Biggest 20th Century Fox debut ever, so it's the biggest one they've ever had. It bests the 108 million that Star Wars Episode 3 did, The Reach Revenge of the Sith. Biggest R-rated Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
to be honest, I think it probably did more if that huge snowstorm did not hit.
Quite
That
possibly.
weekend it up and yeah, because
Yeah.
like I said, from Tennessee north, it was a lot of people couldn't go anywhere during the weekend because of the snowstorm.
Yeah.
Let's see.
And
Biggest.
blizzard hit New York City.
Yeah.
Told people not to drive, basically.
Where you had people surfing behind their four-wheel drives down the streets of New York City. That was some awesome YouTube video. Let's see. Deadpool also did biggest R-rated Monday. Came out $19.5 million on Monday, which is bigger than Hangover Part 2's $17.4 million. Biggest February opening weekend. Surpassed $85 million. Friday to Sunday, $93 million. Baby Freedom of the Comcast. Okay, yeah, we already talked about that one. Biggest opening weekend for Ryan Reynolds.
Well,
That's not saying a lot. I mean, he was in Green Lantern. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's very
Yeah.
true. Biggest R-rated comic book superhero movie ever, but is there another R-rated comic book movie?
that's a good question.
There will be.
Blade,
There will
Let's
be,
see.
absolutely.
Yeah, there's
And-
Blade. There's a few others.
Apparently Wanted. I guess Wanted was considered a superhero movie. See, biggest X-Men debut ever, even though there is what, 2?
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
with
he's
a big
attached to
joke
the
in it.
But,
Oh
I mean,
no, we couldn't afford another X-Men in our movie.
my concern though was with all the records, all the Hollywood trying to cash in on it that we're going to get ready to see here in the next year or two, because they're going to think they're going to find the formula, and it just doesn't work that way.
Honestly, and that's the sad part, is suddenly they realize that R-rated movies are going to be, they can make money. Suddenly they're going to try to do their best to make everything worse and grosser and try to hit that R rating and make that money. And I think that's...
look at the... Sorry. Look at Batman versus Superman. They're not coming out with theaters, but when they release it as a DVD, it's going to be R-rated. They're reshooting scenes to make it R-rated.
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I keep hearing that people are pushing for Suicide Squad coming up to be R-rated. Because
If it wasn't filmed that way to begin with, don't retrofit it.
Yeah.
It's like the whole 3D craze a couple years ago, where 3D is good, but don't try and retrofit it in a movie that it wasn't designed for. It doesn't work.
Yeah, I think Marvel's come out and pretty much said, no, that's just not going to happen at this point.
I mean, it doesn't make sense if you're not. They're just trying to make money. They see the big numbers that Deadpool is doing, and it's just it's horrible. You're going to ruin the movies. You're going to piss off the fans, and we already know how vicious some of the fans can be. Even though, unfortunately, we're still going to buy the tickets to go watch the movies, and we're just going to complain a lot. But let's face it, that's what's going to happen. We're going to complain, we're going to bitch, there's going to be all sorts of stuff over social media, but we've already still given our money to Fox or Marvel or whoever else the money's going to go to.
Yep.
That's what's going to happen.
But, the thing is, for Deadpool, for me, several months back, I'll be completely honest, I had no idea who Deadpool even was. No idea.
I'm right there with you, Vanquish. I had no clue.
And so when they started to initially talk about the movie, I'm like, okay, so what? Big deal. But the marketing, you cannot tell me the marketing for this movie wasn't fantastic.
Oh,
we need this type of marketing for QuestCon. Why don't you think?
I mean, by the time that the movie was ready to be released, I was so pumped up to see something I had never previously heard about. I mean, they could have sold me a pile of crap with their marketing strategy.
Hey, but that brings up, it's crazy, but it worked. They even sold it as a Valentine's movie, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, and at the end of the day, it's still a romance. It's still a romantic.
It is a love story.
It's a love story.
It's the first sentence of the movie.
Letting go.
And what makes it even better is this advertising campaign lived up to the hype. The movie lived up to the advertising campaign. It really did. Because so many movies, you see the hype, and the movie falls flat because they gave everything away already, and so it actually lived up. And I mean, the YouTube campaign alone.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that was just fantastic. It really was.
Giving Ron Ramos a suit and putting him in front of the camera was genius.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, and I don't think any other actor could have done that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I hate to cut it short, but we're getting close to Walking Dead, and we don't want to make certain people. Well, we'll start losing
fidgety.
People. We know who you are.
No zombie claw, Wendell. No.
But before I just thought of this. I don't know why we. Ed, I have one last question for you about conventions.
Yes, sir.
Marketing. How's that affected what made Conchi what it did?
Well, it probably helps because I have a media background, and I was able to get local cable company on board because I do video editing. I could put together a commercial, which is not only online, but the cable company runs for me. We've had newspaper sponsorship. We've had radio station sponsorships. And, it's invaluable. I mean, marketing, if people, you can have the greatest thing in the world. If people don't know about it, you're not going to have anybody there. So, that's first and foremost. You've got to get it marketed and get it out there to people to come.
That's awesome, and the fact that you have those connections is great.
Yeah, well, networking's a big thing. I mean, just you guys have been doing it with the QuestCon stuff, going to all these other conventions, just reaching out to people. So you're doing the same thing.
Well, one thing too, just to give you an idea, we have a big military base here. Fort Campbell is 10 miles from where I'm sitting right now, And there's a guy that here in town that does a radio show, and he's pretty much like the voice of the military, whatever. And I'm going on with him on Tuesday, and he's a real character and all this. We're going to give 15% to anybody that's a military guy or woman, families, whatever. We're going to use the discount code HEROES.
Awesome.
Everywhere we go, like if we go to Southern Fried Con, which I just went to, we had a discount code for them, and we can track those. Where do we get our feedback from? So and there's so many things that are out there that are available that are free. We use Eventbrite for our tickets, which it's not free, but you can add the surcharge on to the tickets. We're using Eventbase as our app this year. We have a customized app, which is great, and it's free. And you can put everything in there. You can change it. People can click and make list of the things they want to do. The more professional you look the day that people walk in, you could be falling apart behind the screen, but if they don't know that and think you're 100% organized, they're going to think you're really doing a great job. So, just work at it. Work, work, work.
So basically, no handwritten signs on 8.5 by 11 pieces of paper.
We're going to have a few of those, but I went in. There's a young lady that helps me named Sarah, and Sarah, I went into her office one day and she said, "Use this app. It is free." And I said, "Okay, well, let me look at it." And I started playing with it, and I realized quickly, 99% of the people in our audience are going to have a smartphone.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And, people have been downloading that app and playing with it and sending me things like, "Oh, you need to change this, you need to do that." So, there'll be a few handwritten signs, but hopefully not many. And then the other thing we're doing this year, which we had not done before, is we're getting the Humane Society involved, and we're doing a fundraiser for them. And as a part of it, and I was blown away the day that we announced it. Almost every one of our vendors wanted to be a part of it and give some prizes for it. And our people are excited because they're doing something above and beyond the fandom. And they'll buy tickets to help promote that stuff.
Awesome. Yep.
Okay. Well, like I said, we're almost done, but one thing I would like to mention before we go is the gay community had a really sad thing happen this week. Professor Tony Dyson, the creator of R2D2, passed away this week.
I think I saw that.
Yeah, March 3rd.
And he was actually at Southern Fried Con about 4 or 5 weeks ago. I saw him there down in Jackson, Tennessee. So sad that that happened.
That's sad to see. It really is. All right.
My video cut out again.
Yeah, it
So
did.
we lost your video there.
I wasn't gonna say anything because it's just less horrifying that way. So.
But hey, guys, if I can say one final thing about Dyson, I put a thing in our Facebook page, and by the way, join us on Facebook. Look for ConGT as well. I put a thing on there, regarding these old time celebrities and people that have been in shows that you like. See them while you can, because they won't be around forever.
Absolutely.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and. Let's go ahead and get this done. See, we have a winner. Yeah, my wife just came home and the dog opened the door. So
It's like being invaded.
yeah. So we have a winner.
Die, window.
Everybody down.
L Gruber 115. He is won. Hopefully he is still in here. He is winning. I'm guessing the 2 shirts. And
Since he's already got tickets, yeah, I guess so.
yes. So we'll go ahead.
Yeah, because I'm not rebating him.
There you go. So L Gruber 115, you're getting a pair of shirts.
And just tell him to send me sizes.
Yes, we need sizes, L Gruber. Now, so we've got ConGT, Clarksville, Tennessee, Riverview Inn, March 25th to the 27th coming up. That's in a couple weeks. So please, if you're in that area, if you can make it, please go. Please support ConGT. This, it's always great to see more people in the doing these kinds of things. Speaking of which, we've got our own con coming up in October of 2017, QuestCon. This cast is supported by QuestCon. There you go. Zoe's got the logo up there. All right. Any last words before we cut off so we can go watch some zombies?
I got nothing.
Thank you guys for allowing me to come on
Yeah.
here.
And
Yes, thank you for coming.
Yeah, a grouper is still here. That's good.
Oh, she. El Gruber says she.
Oh,
All right, El Gruber, we need sizes, and I need. Are you El Gruber? Are you a grievance guild member? Well, it'll be 30 seconds. But thank you for coming on. You've been wonderful.
El Gruber will have my email because if they have tickets, so they can just send me the sizes directly. They don't even have to go through you guys.
All right, did you hear that, El Gruber? You should have the email from Edward. Go ahead. Okay. Well, that's probably the grievance question. So send your sizes to Edward, and he'll get the tickets to you. Or not the tickets, T-shirts.
tickets aren't sized.
Well, they could be.
Well,
We can
they
have
could be.
the poster
Yeah.
board size.
You got me there.
Yeah, there you go. Apparently, she's all over your Facebook pages.
Oh, I have a feeling I'm going to know this person.
Okay. All right. Then I will leave that.
Almost everyone.
Yeah. I will leave that to her to get a hold of you then, to get the sizes and get the shirts. I thank you, everybody. You guys have a wonderful night. And geek on and
Hi, guys.
enjoy.
Thanks, guys.
Night.
All right, thanks.